Wasabi wallet. Unfairly private.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. It's another great Friday, another episode of Why Are We Bullish? We've got a killer panel today. Lots of fun people that we're going to be chatting with. How have you guys been? I see you guys in the chat. There's already people piling in. We got like 70 people watching live. Smash that like button. Give this a share. Let's get a ton of people in here for a good bullish Friday. As always, of course, this is live. Anything can happen. So a quick disclaimer from my friend Bill here.
We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. And thing sucks.
I love it. Yeah, guys, glad to see you all here. Give this a share. Let's get this thing rolling. As always, I am Ben with the BTC Sessions. This is your daily session.
Hodl the Bitcoin.
All right, before we bring in our guests, let's just take a quick look at where we are in the market. We're sitting at 57,000, almost around $500 per coin. A single US dollar will pick you up 1,739 sats. Stack them while you can. By the way, there was a great, I can't remember who tweeted it, but I retweeted them. The idea, instead of cashing out, which is a stupid idea, it's now sat out. You're going to sat out. All right. So you get your paycheck, sat that shit out while you still can. You happen to be dabbling in shit coins, sat that shit out before you get wrecked. You got to sat out, my friends. In terms of the total amount of Bitcoin that have been mined, 89.06%. And for fees right now, mempool has gone up a little bit. 96 sats per byte will get you into the next block. But if you're willing to wait an hour, 6 sats per byte. Well, 7 now. So we'll see. We'll see how that holds up. Sundays are good days, though, if you want to balance things out, open some lightning channels, things like that. Might be good days to check that out. Anyways, shout out to sponsor of the show, LEDN.io, where you can use your Bitcoin for a variety of different services. For me, the most used service by far is the Bitcoin backed loans. So if I need to get my hands on dollars, but I don't want to sell my Bitcoin, which I never do, I can avoid doing that because, of course, that's a taxable event. And I'm always worried about having to buy back in at a higher price. I can deposit, get dollars to my bank. And when I repay those dollars, I get back the same amount of sats, which is the important number. Of course, they do have Bitcoin and USDC savings accounts with interest rates of up to 12.5% annually paid monthly. And their B2X offering uses the same loan mechanism to instantly buy you more Bitcoin if you're feeling mega bullish. Links are down below. If you opt to get either of their loan programs with that link, they'll give you $25 for free into your savings. Of course, I do live on Bitcoin. One of the things that really helps me with this is BitRefill. You can use Bitcoin to purchase just about any damn gift card you can imagine and just about any damn country you can imagine. Super easy to navigate. You can pay on-chain. You can pay with Lightning Network for cheap and fast transactions, which I'll be discussing later. And you do earn sats back while shopping. So be sure to check them out. Links down below. And finally, if you're backing up a wallet, please be careful with that, obviously. That's just a copy of the keys to your money. That's all it is. But paper may not always be the best option. You know, fire damage, water damage, or just accidentally throwing the damn thing out. If you get it on solid steel with the Bill Fodl over at privacypros.io, might give you a bit more peace of mind. This is how I back up on my wallets. But without further ado, let's start bringing in our panel. Let me get rid of this screen here. And we're going to bring in Dylan. We've got Alexandra. We've got CK. And we've got Adam, aka Denver Bitcoin. Guys, how are you doing on this fine Friday?
Doing well.
Doing great. Thanks for having us on.
Doing good, man. Good to be here.
Awesome.
Adam, you kicked my background's ass, man.
Yeah, that's boss.
Dude, I found some time to put the home office together. So
dude, is that
I had to double it up.
Are those what I heard you like cleaning on Clubhouse the other day?
No, that was a little pistol that I was cleaning. But
okay, yeah,
same sound though.
Yeah,
more or less.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, cheers to you all. I've got my beverage going. I don't know if anybody else has a beverage, but cheers regardless. I do have water for after I finish this up. Does Des have something serious going on, or is that some tap water there? Or sorry, Alex. What am I saying? Dez. I had Dez on. I had Dez on like a couple of weeks. Desiree Dickerson. I don't know why I'm thinking that, but was that? Do you have something serious going on for your beverage there?
Full vodka. No, all water.
Oh. Fair enough.
But I know it's spraying on the screen. Great.
Well, guys, we're here for an episode of Why Are We Bullish? This show is always a lot of fun. It's my favorite part of my week, as always. And we basically go by the 3 R's here. Really easy. Each one of us gets to drop a reason why we feel bullish. We get to riff on that reason all together once the person is done with their ranting. And then we rotate to the next person. So super chill, really easy, really casual. And I may be bringing in comments from everybody that is watching live right now. Like Gypsy Tree says, send it Chads and Chadettes, and we shall. So yes. we're going to get rolling with this. I'm going to start us off with a reason for being bullish. And this is kind of like a personal thing that I'm been dabbling in this week. I'm going to bring it up just so you guys can kind of see what I've been working with here. As a lot of you know, and I'm sure you guys in this stream know as well, I'm loving my Umbral Node. I'm super stoked on it. So many awesome apps that you can add. And a lot of them are Lightning related. And I do, of course, love Lightning Network, but I had yet to really dive into understanding running a Lightning node. But I had some excellent help this past week. I'm sure you guys, some of you may have seen me tweeting about it. I dove into ThunderHub and I started setting up my Lightning node and opening channels and like really digging into what's going on here. And man, it's like relearning about Bitcoin all over again. It's so cool. I'm learning about how to be like set up as a hub to route payments. I'm learning about channel balancing. I'm learning about what works and what doesn't. There's so many things that I didn't understand that I'm now starting to grasp. And it's a whole new world. You can use this kind of stuff via Umbral, via MyNode. Somebody was asking in the chat here, is it Umbral versus MyNode? I mean, you get different things out of different interfaces. I'd say both of them are excellent. And like once you dive in, it's all good. Umbral is a little bit easier to understand out the gate. Just with their interface, like it's really easy to navigate. But like using Lightning with it, it's crazy. Like you don't even really use their Lightning interface here. You can go in and use these apps like ThunderHub and manage it all from there. And that gets you into the nitty gritty. So I'm just super stoked on Lightning right now. I'm really excited. I am dropping a tutorial on how to do this on early next week. I think at the latest Wednesday is when it's going to drop. But I'm just stoked on Lightning right now. I'm stoked on running a node and seeing so many other people diving into this realm and the growth of Lightning nodes. I think it's just so cool. So I guess in passing it out to the panel here, my question to you guys would be, how far down that rabbit hole are each of you? Like, are you running your own node, first of all? Have you experimented with Lightning in any capacity, and what has that been like for you? So I guess I'll maybe toss it to Dylan here first. What's your experience with this so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty awesome. I've ran my node, BTC, and then just recently I spun up a Get Umbral node. Get Umbral is super slick. I mean, my node's awesome too, and I bought the premium sub they had there. But like, there's something, it feels super cypherpunk. Like you have like a $200 little computer, and from there you're routing everything through Tor, and you can send or stream money anywhere around the world for no cost without anyone's permission. It's just like, I mean, yeah, it is a little like clunky, I guess, where like probably the average person, or like billions of people will just download an app and never have to even think about what a channel is. But for anybody that does, or for anybody that truly wants to have their own money, it's super awesome to see what's happening. And like, that's like, I cover a lot of like the financial stuff that happens in the space, and I'm looking at like on-chain data and markets. And I guess that's just my way of like communicating like what's happening. And and Alex Glassine has actually a great piece. It's like number go up equals freedom go up. And that's that's part of the reason why I'm like, I mean, I just stack and hodl. I'm not trading in and out of this, but all of this like financial stuff, all of these developments, it's like you never really hear much about Lightning. And so just like to see all of this stuff and just all the smart people that are working on this, and to see that go basically exponential, it's super, super bullish. And yeah, I mean, everybody, if you haven't tried to spin up a node, you should.
Yeah, I like what you're saying about the financial aspect of this, because all of a sudden it brings into the ecosystem the idea of being able to make a return on your capital without having to like actually lend it out. Like you can tie up liquidity in a channel for somebody, and you can basically rent out that liquidity using Lightning Pool, which is something else that I've been kind of looking in, and that'll be a subsequent video down the line. But it just opens up so many possibilities, and I love it. Yeah, it's pretty wild, but
Super bullish.
Maybe, yeah, man. Yeah, 100%. Now let's toss it over to Alex here. Alex, you said that you've been dabbling with your node. You maybe not as much with Lightning yet, but what's your experience been so far?
So I still actually have to set up my node. So I'm a little delinquent in that, but I will do that soon, I promise.
Which node are you thinking?
I'm probably going to go Raspberry Pi.
So
I'm also thinking of doing something with a group instead of just myself. So that's been one of the holdups. But yeah. If that doesn't happen in the next month, though, I'll just roll my own.
I think your best bet, especially like starting out the gate, would probably be Umbral. It's super, super easy to get yourself rolling with that. My node is also excellent. Might be a little, initially it looks a little bit scarier, just the interface, but really it's not that bad. But yeah, out of the gate, like all you do is you just get an SD card and a little Raspberry Pi, and you just put you put a program on the SD card and plug it in, and that's it. It's great. I love it.
Nice. Well, maybe I'll look into doing that. I know that there's a really cool thing called Ring of Fire, and Ben, you might actually be interested in joining if you're not already part of it. So it's all about, big channels and balanced channels. There's, I believe, 3 nodes up and running, or like the giant rings up and running right now, and more to come. So
I'm excited to hear you mention that, because I've been getting messages and people have been saying, hey, join this group and join this Telegram group, and people are setting up channels together. Really interesting. I think I'm going to have to dive into. Thanks for mentioning that. I almost forgot. Adam, how about you? What's your experience? Nodes, Lightning, where are you at with this?
Yeah, I've got an Umbral node. I mean, it's really exciting. I think listening to you guys riff, and you and Dylan talk about it, it just made me think about how nascent we are, like how early we are, because even the most sophisticated or competent Bitcoin users we're just learning how to participate in this market, right? We're just learning how to use these tools, just really learning how to even provide liquidity, right? So we're at the precipice of kind of market creation, and certainly what's going to be crazy market growth when it comes to layer 2 applications. I think Bitcoin's price is this pure signal in the sky, and I think it's gotten everybody excited about Bitcoin. And so beyond just what Bitcoin offers, I think people are craving what's next, right? And that leads people down the shitcoin rabbit hole, I think, at times. But I think oftentimes it also leads people to look at things like mining, and to look at Lightning. And I mean, with what Jack Mallers is doing, it's hard not to be bullish with Lightning Network, right? The fact of being able to stream sats live, almost non-existent fees, with very low risk and instant settlement. I mean, it shows how powerful a sound settlement layer can be, because you can't have something like a Lightning Network unless you can rely upon that layer 1 settlement, and you can trustlessly verify that ledger. And then now the sky's the limit, right? And so it's just going to take time, manpower, and brain power to put it all together. But this is the beginning of new tools. It's the beginning of new economies. It's really exciting.
100%. I love it. Yeah. There's some people in the chat mentioning Blue Wallet. That's something that was added to Umbral just recently. And I just actually played with that where Blue Wallet basically, and a lot of people are a little confused on how it works. Maybe I'll just drop that right now for people that are talking about it. So you can connect your Blue Wallet to your Lightning node. And what this does is it's actually like like Uncle Jim mode. And so what it does is when you connect it via the QR code, you like scan a little QR code to connect your Lightning wallet, it creates a brand new kind of like separate account that uses the liquidity of your node. And it keeps that separate from your main funds. In that it's like it would almost be like a family account, or like for you, like a separate account, like a mobile account. So it doesn't put at risk the total liquidity that you have on your node. It doesn't put at risk all of your funds, but it creates a separate mobile account where you can receive funds easily and then send those funds out if you like, using all of the channels that you've already set up. So you can Uncle Jim your family and friends and say like, listen, I know you don't want to set up your own channels and do all this, but they can just do a quick scan and connect into your node and then have access to all of your liquidity. And then they don't have to trust, say, Blue Wallet with their custodial Lightning wallet, which is incredible. So I had that explained to me just yesterday, so I figured I'd drop that, seeing it in the chat. But I digress. CK, where are you at with the whole node thing with Lightning? What have you been diving into?
So I'm kind of a Lightning newbie, but in terms of a node, my favorite thing is download Bitcoin Core and download Spectre and kind of set it to prune mode. You don't need to get any extra hardware. You can just use it on your daily driver, and like that already 1,000 X's from trusting someone to not trusting someone. So like order of magnitude improvement in your Bitcoin usage if you just do that. So I'm a big fan of that. I think Spectre is actually updated now where it just comes all packaged in. So you don't even have to download Bitcoin Core separately. You can just download Spectre. But I have a Nodl as well, aside from just my node on my laptop. I haven't really dug into Lightning personally myself, but I'm a big fan of Lightning. And one of the things that I think both Adam and you, BTC Sessions, were kind of hinting at is like Lightning is this great flattening financial playing field, right? Like now we live in a world where the only people that have financial like payment networks are PayPal, Visa, and Square. You know, these kind of like massive players. And we're going into a world where, you know, Strike is out competing all of their competitors because they're tapping into an open source payment network. And at the same time, Ben can provide his family with access to the global payment network without having to, you know, ask anyone's permission, and you know, effectively, he's kind of providing the same access that we now depend on, you know, a third-party application to give us access to today, which is, you know, getting on a Visa card or getting on PayPal or getting on Cash App. So it's really amazing to kind of see this like opening and flattening of, let's just call it like internet payments. And, you know, Lightning, whether it's going to be a lot more company run like Strike or whether it's something that is predominantly a P2P thing, I don't know. And I don't necessarily have a strong opinion. I just think that in general, it's a massive change in terms of, you know, we live in a world with proprietary payment networks. And now, guess what? Your proprietary payment network is actually obsoleted by this open source one that anyone can tap into. So I just think it's extremely bullish.
I like that. And it reminds me of a story that kind of happened earlier this week too, in regards to that. And it just adds another layer to the impossibility of what was proposed. But Iran went and said that, hey, within our country, you're only allowed to use Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies mined within our borders, which already is totally unenforceable. But throw in something like Lightning Network, where you effectively have no idea what's happening, or Liquid for that matter. Like, how do you even begin to climb? It sounds like some idiot just threw out a regulation, was like, okay, go enforce it. And the people that are trying to enforce it are going to be like, what? We don't know. We don't even know how the base there works.
I mean, that's like saying, you know, you can only drink water that reigned in the country. You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck are we talking about? I mean,
yeah, it's so true.
I was gonna say it also is like kind of bullish in the fact that these people don't know what they're up against, because like Bitcoin obsoletes geography. Like the fact that you can even think of it from that mental model means that you don't really get what's happening.
Yeah. 100%. Now, I just saw a thing in the chat. Now, we were talking pretty deep about Lightning. I apologize to the noobs that are in here, because there are a lot of noobs that are coming along. B2 Dauphine, I think that's how you say it. This is way above my head. So discouraging. Don't be discouraged. This type of conversation was the type of stuff that I was trying to wrap my head around for probably, and you'll hear a lot of these, but I had so many conversations that I would just kind of stick myself in and hear stuff that I just had no clue about what was going on. And while discouraging, it can be, it gets you to start asking questions. So start with like a basic question about something that you hear where it kind of lines up and then you don't quite get it, and just go from there, and you'll start going down little rabbit holes. We're talking about running Lightning nodes and running Bitcoin nodes, and that is not necessary right out the gate for the basic use case of an individual just starting with Bitcoin. All you really need to understand is that it is money independent of government that cannot be debased or printed at will, and it has a limited amount. Start there, start getting away from dollars, and you will be fine, and you will start learning. So please don't be discouraged. Sorry if we did discourage you there, but you will be okay. You will be stronger because of it. And never worry about sticking yourself into content that seems above your head initially. You will start to learn more than you can ever imagine. But with that, I digress. We have like 200 people watching live. Smash that like button. Give this a share. Get it in front of more eyeballs. Let's get a ton of people in here. I'm going to toss it now to Dylan. And Dylan, when you start with your reason for being bullish this week, if you want, you can drop a little bit about yourself as well. I kind of neglected to do that at first. So maybe just let people know who you are, what you do, and then let us know, why are you bullish this week, man?
Yeah, so my name's Dylan. I work at Bitcoin Magazine. Started up there a few months ago. I'm doing on-chain analysis stuff and some financial market commentary. Yeah, I have a passion for Bitcoin, and kind of fell down a rabbit hole pretty hard. I would say 2 years ago ish. Dropped out of school last year. And I, along with Bitcoin Magazine, I basically have a small kind of gig where I help businesses and individuals kind of understand Bitcoin. And so that's like on a one-on-one level. But why I'm bullish, that's really tough. There's so many things. I guess just recently from my aspect or point of view, there's so many things that are happening, and like capital inflows. There's so many people, like I guess like the Bridgewater news, like this Wall Street stuff, a lot of like, it's almost like on one end, it's like, oh, who cares? The big money, let them wait. But on the other end, it's when this capital flows in, when Michael Saylor or Elon Musk, buys $1 billion of Bitcoin, it has so many positive externalities that happen all over the world that we can't even see or know about, right? Like all of this stuff, and to reference again, like the Alex Gladstein piece, when a billionaire comes in and allocates to this asset class, there's people in a third world country that see their savings increase. The like freedom go up around the world. More and more people are basically, freed from this like cantillionaire, like kind of top down central banking reality with every single dollar that pours into this asset class. So yeah, that's why I'm bullish. Just number go up. I mean, it's a basic meme, and a lot of people, I guess, like they don't really see it when a bunch of people on Twitter are championing like the price rising, but the price is just a signal. The price is the most accurate signal of what's actually unfolding here, which is a monetary revolution, an individual revolution to the likes that we've never seen before. So yeah, I guess that's why I'm bullish. Just seeing all of these positive developments in 2021. it's happening really, really fast, and it's super exciting.
Yeah, I love that sentiment. A lot of people, again, they miss it for the noise of kind of like all the shitcoin pumps. But at the same time, something very important is happening here, and we're gradually siphoning away the ability of central banks to steal people's hard-earned wealth, to steal the time of individuals who put their blood, sweat, and tears into their job, whatever it may be, or whatever they're building, or whatever service they're offering. And somebody comes along and says, hey, those dollars that you just took in exchange for your labor, well, we're going to make those dollars worth less, and in kind, make your time worth less. And nobody wants that deal. Nobody really wants that deal, but it's sold as a way of helping people. But really, it's really not. We're seeing a lot of it in Canada here. We're seeing it a lot of it around the world. Prices of commodities, prices of everything across the board. I don't know if you guys have noticed a lot of shrinkflation. I definitely have noticed that groceries are were I not sitting in Bitcoin, would be a pain in the ass and would probably be siphoning away from any fiat savings I would have had. But it's rough out there. And yeah, this takes away that power. So excellent point there. I'm wondering if Alex might have anything to add to that. Are you in line with Dylan's thinking here?
Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin, just once you kind of jump down that rabbit hole, and I kind of think you're actually not jumping down the rabbit hole, you're more climbing out and actually seeing the fresh air for the first time and looking around and, yeah. So I think there's so many second order effects that happen that are really positive. People start thinking about, what is my money actually made out of? And they start kind of thinking more, philosophically. And there's an article that I was featured in a Czech publication back last October, November. And I essentially talked about, Bitcoin and philosophy and how those two things kind of make you a better person. You just start making better choices and doing better things and expecting better things for yourself and the people that you hang around with. So yeah, all around it's good.
You start shedding all of your fiat tendencies, I think, is totally the case. Yeah. Adam, what about you? Are you shedding fiat tendencies? How is Bitcoin affecting you personally and the people around you?
I mean, I think certainly just time preference overall, right? Plus there's kind of like a beacon of hope on the horizon. I find Bitcoin brings a little bit of hopefulness. At least I see that in a lot of the individuals that I interact with, who are, Bitcoiners or bullish on Bitcoin. But even, within my family, with me personally, it's hard to spend a reckless dollar, right? I mean, I think when, for most people these days, money comes and goes really easy. It's not just like, paycheck to paycheck, but I mean, loans are just easy. It's easy to even raise venture capital or angel funds, or I mean, you can get damn near free money all over the place. And so, I think reckless spending and reckless consumption has been normalized. And in fact, even celebrated to some degree. There's any time that there's more spending, one Christmas versus the last Christmas, it's news and talked about, discussed, analyzed, and speculated and traded upon, and those kinds of things. So I think Bitcoin's going to kind of extinguish that consumption fever, and it's going to do it really slowly. It's going to take a long time, right, for people to kind of, for that behavior to change. But when you realize that you have, that not spending a dollar in the economy today might actually give you more than $1 to spend tomorrow, trade-offs change and your life changes. For me, it's, I usually live simply anyway, but now it's like I'm really frugal. It's probably to a fault to some degree, right? But it's because it's hard to part with $1 when you're going to be rewarded for saving, right?
Yeah. This is kind of what we're lacking in society today, where people will think long term, right? Where people will build things that will extend out to benefit multiple generations. And we're kind of missing that. Like where are the incredible feats of engineering, incredible feats of architecture that take generations to build? When's the last time you saw a building that took more than like 6 months to put together? Like,
well, like even manufacturing and things. I think Stacy and Max Kaiser, they speak about it really fluently. But one point they made is, part of it is in Bitcoin, we talk about this, chip shortage with Bitcoin mining and things, right? And it's a global semiconductor, production issue. And the reason that, in my opinion, that there is such a global semiconductor shortage and such a backlog is because nobody's been incentivized to create, microelectronic fabrication facilities and to expand their capacity and what they can produce. They've been incentivized to go buy back their stock. They've been incentivized to, financialize their business and squeeze out that, X amount more percent and grow their stock rather than actually go build things. And that's, it's to a fault, right? And there's going to be externalities from that. And I think we're feeling some of them, but it bleeds to all industries, right? And that's what creates all these monetary premiums. It's because, it's a lot of financialization. And so I think Bitcoin, what the issue is, the reason we haven't seen these things is because nobody's been incentivized to do it, right? It's not just that everyone's cheap. It's because they're more incentivized to do something else with their dollars. They'll get a faster and better return with less risk, right? You don't need to risk 30 years of building or actually erecting a microelectronic foundry. You can just buy your own stock and get rich. Like, let's just do that. So I think, hopefully, right, Bitcoin will kind of help realign some incentives, which, as oftentimes Bitcoiners talk about, it helps fix the world, right?
Yeah, 100%. CK, I see you nodding a lot. Do you want to tag into what Adam's saying?
I mean, no, I just agree with so many things that Adam is saying. And I think Bitcoin aligns incentives. Ansel Lindner said that many times, and I completely agree. And I mean, I view Bitcoin and I view money in general as like a value communications protocol, right? So this is like almost like an operating system for delivering and communicating value. So like when you live on the Bitcoin standard, like you're literally operating on a different operating system than people who live on this clowny fiat standard. And it takes a while to like bridge over, but once you bridge over, like there's no going back. You can't kind of unsee it. So like I kind of relate to all these people in terms of like the benefits of getting onto a sounder operating system. And I bet that, Adam, you're not only saving more, but you're actually earning more too. You're probably more productive with your time and you're probably happier. So like the second, third, fourth order effects of like shifting over is pretty astonishing. And I don't think that it's going to take a long time because like it's going to be so freaking obvious who's winning and who's losing. I put a tweet out that politicians want you to be poor and Bitcoiners want you to be rich. It's as simple as that. So it's your choice. So I really do think that in this decade by 2030, like it's a Bitcoin world now. The world has completely shifted. Borders have changed. So like any of this is going to take a while thing. Like I don't buy it at all.
Yeah. And Bitcoiners, yeah, we don't want you to be poor, but if you choose to be poor, we would prefer that you're having fun. I think is the takeaway there.
Always have fun.
always have fun. Whether rich or poor, you must be having fun at all times. We're going to keep rolling here. We've got 220 people watching live. Smash that like button. Give this a share. And we're going to toss it down the line. I'm going to do this a little bit of out of order of seeing people on my screen, just because, Denver, I know you're going to be hitting up another show immediately after this. So, Adam, I'm going to toss it to you first. And then, Alex, be in the wings for after we riff on his reason, because you'll be up next. But, Adam, dude, what has you bullish?
Well, I don't want to be a broken record. And usually I talk about mining because I'm so bullish on mining, and the conversations I'm having every day with oil and gas producers who are taking a serious look and oftentimes taking a serious step into becoming Bitcoin miners, right? It makes me incredibly bullish. But today I kind of want to talk about the reason I'm bullish is really just the absolute influx of interest, right? I think it all goes back to Bitcoin's price. I think at the end of the day, Bitcoin, the price is the best manipulator of opinion, if you will. It's the thing that people have to, when they go back and they have to kind of think to themselves like, hey, maybe I missed something, and they'll have to go recheck Bitcoin, right? Or they'll have to actually go do some research for the first time because, the last time they looked at it, it was 17 and now it's 51. Like they're compelled. And so I think that's the driving force, but I've been seeing it I do some one-on-one consulting with Coinbase Connect. And so like I consult with guys who are looking to potentially invest in Bitcoin mining, and the amount of interest and the amount of people that have, signed up to consult one-on-one with me has absolutely like 10x my expectations. And it's not me, it's a sign of how, exciting these times are, how many people are talking about, Bitcoin mining, just really its monetary policy, right? If anybody's talking about the mining aspect of it, they have to talk about, why Bitcoin has this different monetary policy and why there's things like halvings, and it forces this education upon the world. And I'm seeing it happen in real time, right? I don't know when I'll wake up and it'll be normal. I don't know when I'll wake up and it'll be just like an average topic, certainly in the oil and gas industry, but in, an average topic on Bloomberg or whatever. But it's going to happen one day, and we're living through the transition. And so it seemingly isn't happening. But I'm so entrenched in it personally that I'm personally witnessing and experiencing, the kind of the volume of numbers and the volume of conversations that must be taking place. I mean, if people are talking to me, at this quantity, the amount of conversations they're going back and having about what we talked about and sharing that information, it's taking over would be a proper term, I think. So, I'm really bullish. I'm too bullish, probably like too bullish to give anybody investment advice. Way too bullish, to even think about doing anything other than building for Bitcoin. And so that's what that's what I do every day. And like CK said, it's true. I'm probably working more than I did before I left my kind of corporate job. Earning more. I'm certainly happier, even though I'm more overwhelmed. It's part of that incentive game. It's, incentivizes you to work hard and provide honest value, and it starts to domino from there.
Yeah, I agree with your sentiment. The amount of interest is pretty staggering right now.
You got to see it with your numbers, right? Are your numbers through the roof the last 90 days? They got to be.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Like whether it be like views on the show, I used to offer like one-on-ones. But of course, like I just had I've got a 1 month old right now. So I've minted another young Bitcoiner into the world. And, well, I'd say mostly my wife did the hard work of minting another Bitcoiner into the world, but I did help. But I had to turn off my 101 things in my scheduler. I was like, I can't, there's too much going on. So that's out the window for me for the time being. But yeah, it was getting to the point where I was like, I can't, like, I'd get, no, but I'd be like,
during 2018 or, middle 2019, you could have had your wife could have had triplets, and you wouldn't have taken down your schedule because nobody was booking time anyway.
Yeah. 100%.
So it's now it's a land grab. Now it's a land rush. People are dying for this information and they're trying to absorb it as fast as possible. I think the timing of like Clubhouse getting released is pretty serendipitous and, well done by that team. I'm not sure they coincided at anything with Bitcoin. I'm not sure they realized what was about to happen, but like, it's because, yeah, exactly. It's just, good on them. But people are craving knowledge and they're craving to understand this. And then there's so much obfuscation and all the, the shit coins and everything else, and this diversified portfolio bullshit, NFTs, it's too much. And so they're one-on-ones and like trying to listen to podcasts. I'm talking to these people, they're dying for information. People are coming loaded with questions, like a whole sheet of questions they thought about for hours. Like, it's serious, right?
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm going to ask Dylan, like, in what you're doing, do you get a lot of people asking you about what's happening with Bitcoin, about the whole ecosystem? Like, what are you dealing with?
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest orange pill, or like I guess, yeah, one of the biggest red pill moments, or just like things over the past year, and it's like very oversimplified, but like the money printer go burr meme, like a lot of people like you could pitch Bitcoin to them, and you'd be like, yeah, the decentralization and the sound monetary, and their eyes glaze over, like it's just nothing to them. But you're like, yeah, man, like money printer go brrr, and like look at the house prices, look at everything. Like, oh, buy Bitcoin and save yourself, and like people can like get that. So I mean, it's definitely like, I mean, I've gone like deeper on a deeper level, like with multiple people. But yeah, that's really like for the average person that like doesn't follow like monetary policy or even know what that means, like it is definitely a big moment over the past year.
Well, it's very easy to start up a conversation with somebody and be like, "Yo, isn't shit more expensive? Do you want to know why?" That's all you need to start off, right? Like people get that. Hey, is it harder to live than last month, than a few months before that, than last year? Shit, yeah. Let's
I think
have a
that's one of the
conversation.
that's one of the most insidious things about like the central, the era of central banking is that the people that hurt like the worst from all this, they don't understand what's happening, like the political divide and all of this. Like the people that are the most hurt by the actions of central banks and politicians over the last decade to 10 don't hold the assets. They don't even understand why they like, they're on a treadmill. And that's like, for me, that's why one of the reasons I'm so passionate about Bitcoin is like, the plumber shouldn't have to think about, after a hard day at work, the global macroeconomic landscape and how to store value. Like they should just save money and live a humble life. Like, and so Bitcoin does fix this, and it's just because of the incentives. Like, saving will, become normal again.
Yeah, 100%. Let's make saving cool again. I like that. Alex, do you have thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, again, like Bitcoin just gets people thinking differently. And, we've seen just the debasement of so many things this past year, 14 months. Just our institutions are just crumbling before our very eyes. So, I think that is, that's scary to a lot of people, and really seeing that there is something that they can, they can put their money into when everything else is falling around you. Like, what do you do? Well, there's Bitcoin. And it's really been a big lifeboat, I think, to a lot of people. And people that I've been speaking with, they're like, oh, I kind of get it now. Yeah, it's solid money, and it just does so many good things.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think a good way to approach it is, hey, do you have a lot of shit? Are you mostly dealing in cash and living paycheck to paycheck? Because if you're mostly dealing in cash, that stuff's becoming worth less. So unless you have a lot of assets, unless you already own a lot of shit, those are the people getting richer, because that's where the money is flowing. It's not flowing to you. You might get a pittance, you might get a check every 6 months or something, but by and large, the trillions being printed are not going into your wallet.
Those folks in the ivory towers with their massive lumber storage facilities that are getting rich.
I saw the best meme the other day about lumber, and it was just a picture of a rapper, and he had grills, but his grills were made of lumber.
Nice.
Yeah, this is California maple.
Like George Washington, straight
Yes,
back to the Revolutionary days.
I love it. CK, what are you feeling in this realm? Do you have anything to tag on here?
Yeah, well, so an observation here, at least when it comes to like interest in the way that people go and satiate that interest, it's like they are going to Clubhouse, they're going to podcasts, they're going to YouTube videos, they're going to Bitcoin Magazine, they're going to all these places that aren't Bloomberg, Yahoo Finance, that aren't all of this kind of mainstream coverage for the signal. And the reality is that it's not like these mainstream publications haven't been covering Bitcoin. It's just they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And anyone who listens to them continuously gets wrecked. So eventually people have to go to where the actual information is. And it is not the top down, broadcast. It's down in the crowd, right? So like everything about Bitcoin is a networked system, including how we distribute information around with it. And it's it's so bullish, right? All of us have an incentive to educate people. All of us are like, who are on the ground actually understand what's happening. And then everyone who wants to kind of like jawbone about it up here, like they're getting wrecked financially. Like the numbers don't lie. So again, that's why I think Bitcoin's going to be fast. Like it's not going to be this thing that central bankers are going to be able to fight. You know, if you look at like the case study of Google versus Yahoo, Google's using a algorithm to do its page ranking. Yahoo has a team of people who are manually doing page rankings. Guess who won? It was Google. Bitcoin is Google. Freaking fiat, CBDCs, all this horse shit is Yahoo, and they're going to get boned up the you know what. So like, it's not going to take a long time. It's going to be fast, and it's going to be common sense, and it's just going to completely change how the world is structured. And you can see it in every aspect of Bitcoin.
Yeah, I don't think people really get the network effects here. Like we're going for a protocol for value for the world. And that's kind of what's at stake here. All the like little additions of oh, we changed this thing so that we can do one extra little awesome feature. That's kind of cool. You're not gonna get the market share of an entire money just by iterating. It's got to be an order of magnitude above and beyond, and we're not seeing that. It's so difficult for people to grasp this. But I do encourage, I did make a video, I think it was called, Why Does Bitcoin Still Dominate? And it kind of goes through a lot of like the qualities of that just haven't been surpassed by altcoins in general. So if you're unsure, if you're hearing this and you're like, these guys are all so closed-minded, go watch that and just kind of go through the steps. And then just, there's like a laundry list, a simple checklist of, does it have this? Does it have that? Does it have that? And if you start not ticking boxes, then you can just push it to the side and it makes your life a lot easier. But we're going to keep rolling here. This has been good. 225 people here live. Smash that like button. It really does help. I swear to God, give it a share. We'll get even more people in here. I did see just Pubby from Toxic Happy Hour in the chat. Always good to see him in here. If you guys know who he is, he's a legend. Him and Anders rock it every week. But we're going to jump to Alexandra. What is making you bullish this week? Take it away.
Yeah, so for people that don't know me, I'm the host of the Advanced Tech Podcast, and it's featured, we essentially feature people in the emerging tech space. So that's everything from artificial intelligence to Bitcoin. It's pretty heavily focused on Bitcoiners lately and Bitcoiner projects. There's a current episode with a couple of Bitcoiners and their project Upcarta, which is pretty cool. So definitely check that out. You can find that on all the players and advancedtechmedia.org. So I'm extremely bullish about Bitcoin art and Bitcoin artists. I think we're really starting to see a really cool renaissance. So there's a few things I wanted to mention around that. So some of the I guess the best places to go, I mean, Bitcoin Twitter is always great, but scarce.city, so just scarce and then .city. There's some really amazing features up there right now. Currently, the next auction, which is just live, I think it's like an hour in, is with RYR. And he's got this really cool thing, which is it's essentially like blue pill, red pill. So it's a start of money, like gold and paper, and then kind of what happened with Bitcoin. And so, yeah, it's currently a live auction. It uses Lightning, so you bid, and then whoever wins the auction, or who has the highest bid, is the person who wins. And there's some really cool past auctions as well too.
Now this is actual physical artwork, correct?
Yeah, most of the time. In fact, I think, yeah, in all instances it is. I mean, sometimes there's a digital component, but yeah, it's actual art by actual artists. And that's one of the things that I really love about Bitcoin, is that it's, you know, you hear all of these things. I was talking to my friends about, you know, this upcoming episode, saying I was going to talk about Bitcoin art. And they're like, oh, like NFTs? Like, no.
No, not that.
No, like actual art by actual artists that have put in the time and, you know, done some really amazing pieces. Again, it's that kind of second order effect that really affects you. If you're inspired by it, like, it's just amazing seeing some of the, you know, the detail that's come out of these pieces. If you go to, again, scarce.city, another really good one is 21ism. And there's some really awesome things happening there. What's nice about them is they kind of focus it into episodes. So they've got things like, features on code and features on various other things. Usually there's like short interviews and things like that. So that's a good space.
I'm gonna give a shout out as we're on 21ism. Madex is a friend of mine, and he does killer Bitcoin art. Like if you haven't seen his stuff, so he was doing a lot of stuff for Bull Bitcoin, but he just nails this shit. Like his stuff is so unique. He also puts an open dime on the back of every single one of his pieces of art, and his stuff is so unique. Like I can't stress it enough. It's so cool. He got a copy of the first Bitcoin magazine and took the front page and turned it into this masterpiece, which sold for 1 Bitcoin. He just does some amazing stuff. He has stuff like etched in wood. He did the cover art for Zuby's album. So yeah, 21ism. Also, I just bought their comic with Lightning via my node. So tying it all together. Anyways, Alex, sorry, continue what you were saying.
No, that's all good. It's all good. I want to give a shout out to a few other artists that are doing some really amazing things. So next auction coming up, and keep your eyes peeled on scarce.city, is a really cool thing by Dim Zion. So he's the creator of the Bitcoin voice paper. So some of you will probably know him. And Voltardia as well. So it's what did he call it? He called it a triptych, which is essentially a 3-paneled piece and a bigger piece in the middle, and then 2 kind of flanking pieces that you can open or close. It's really incredible. I tried to search for some of the artists that I'm mentioning. So if you go to my Twitter page, they're pretty much all featured on the first few tweets. So you can see like a little preview of his work, and yeah, that'll be coming up soon. Another really amazing artist is Florencia Montoya. She does mixed media and etchings. Phenomenal stuff, really phenomenal. Who else? I'm forgetting like so many people that are just like, they're just amazing artists. Eppo Lindbergh does some really cool poured epoxy things. So it's all around Bitcoin. He was also featured on scarce.city. Cypherpunk now has done some really cool things. So he also does all of the physical printing for Citadel 21, which is definitely something else you should also check out for, really high signal Bitcoin content.
Yeah, Citadel 21 is just, I ordered the physical copies, and it's just, those guys, they just pump out such great content, and they just have like random plebs come in and write articles. Like they've got some incredible stuff. If you haven't looked at like what they're doing over there, you need to do it. I do have a copy of the sold out 1,000 issue only first edition. Volume 2 is about to sell out physically. So go grab a copy if you haven't. You might get a little piece of Bitcoin history. They're just pumping out the content, and it's all so great. I'm so glad you brought them up.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're awesome. I'm featured in volume 3 and volume 9, and potentially another one coming up. We'll see.
I did read your stuff. It was excellent, by the way. Go back and read those. There's so many good things.
I think I'm in one, but I can't find where I'm featured. I can't find which one my article went into. I have to ask.
You wrote one?
I think I did. Yeah. I mean, I think Pirate reached out to me and had me him and Hodlnot.
Awesome. That's so cool. I love it. There's so many good, you're right. There's so many good artists in the space, and Bitcoiners, I think because our money is intangible, we gravitate towards like, I don't know how to describe it, like heirlooms or interesting, unique pieces that are also scarce from artists that we know. Before it would just be like, well, there's nothing. So you just buy like whatever piece of shit trinket. But now it's like, oh, I want this unique thing created by this incredible Bitcoiner. And there's so much that's coming. It's incredible. Like I'll toss it to, I think what I'll do with this is I'm just going to toss it to the entirety of the panel. Alex was talking about a lot of her favorite projects and artists and everything. Do any of you have personally like some Bitcoin art or stuff that you're excited about, or something that you've gotten in the past that you really treasure?
Yeah, let me jump in here. So first and foremost, I have to second the shout out of Scarcity. They are really freaking awesome. And if you haven't tried it out, it's super, super easy. You can use any Lightning wallet to effectively put in a bid, and that is a very easy process. But if you don't actually get the art, if you don't win the bid, they just email you back and they're like, yo, what's a Lightning address? And they send you the sats right back. So I spent about $100 kind of putting in bids, and I got those sats right back. It was pretty awesome. But beyond that, I have to give a selfish shout out to both the art director of Bitcoin Magazine, Tommy, Young Gucci T, and when you're showing Scarcity, one of his pieces that got auctioned off on Scarcity, the big Satoshi face, Untitled for All. That was an awesome piece. It got auctioned for quite a few sats, so I feel pretty proud of him. And he's responsible for the Bitcoin 2021 brand as well as the Bitcoin Magazine brand for the last few years. So he is epic. And then you showed copy number 1 of Citadel 21. The cover was made by Bitco, and today he just announced on Twitter that he has joined the Bitcoin Magazine team as well as a senior designer. So, I mean, 2 legends on the team already from a design perspective. And we have a couple other designers that are coming on too that are a little bit less well known, but I mean, expect some really great art from Bitcoin Magazine. And I'd be remiss to not talk about the freaking art gallery at Bitcoin 2021. So yeah, you're showing it, BTC sessions.
In the name of art, I'd like to give a shout out to, I think they were mentioned earlier, but Crypto Cloaks, their hash hut node case design that we're going to give away a couple of them at Bitcoin 2021, but it's absolutely awesome. They went above and beyond. They even created a little sliding shelf that the Raspberry is affixed to, and then it just kind of slides in the back of the data center, the little mini data center. Absolutely awesome work. So definitely check that out. And I think they're actually going to become a product on Crypto Cloak's site here in a little bit, but it might be a month or so until they're live. But definitely check those out if you're going to run a node. They're a sweet case.
I do love the hash hut. I like how they added in, because they're selling the hash hut node case for $99. They're like, we added into the description, and it's just a little asterisk. They're like, yes, it's $99 because it takes 36 hours to print.
Yeah, and but it's so cool. I mean, just like our data centers in the field, they have the exhaust, the fans are, the exhaust fans for the Raspberry, the little square fans. The intakes in the low. I mean, it's freaking sweet, man. It's we could have a miniature one to run the node. We could build a middle-sized hash hut for at home mining, have one in the backyard that can house 12 S9s or something. And then we have our, oil field size. I think it's going to happen.
I love it. And I'll let Dylan tag in here. I don't know if you have in the past couple of years, I mean, you might have been stacking hard. Have you gotten anything for yourself that you kind of treasure as anything on your walls or whatever?
I'm starting to get together a Bitcoin, a Bitcoin room. I have that right back there. That's Lucho. What's his name? Lucho.
Coletti.
Yes. Yeah, that's Dr. Satoshi's orange pill, and then that's the white paper framed up. So
dude, you got to get a block clock, man. Got to get a block
I got
clock.
one. I got one.
Oh, okay, good. I was gonna say if you don't, then that's core. I geeked out on the block clock. I still sometimes sit on freaking that little website and change it, for hours.
I have it set up for Moscow time right now, but I gotta get my background.
It's funny that we're lumping this in with art, because the block clock surely
Definitely
is
art.
a piece of art. It is
Definitely.
art.
Yeah.
Every time I see the lights blink, it's pure art.
I feel like everything that CoinKite does is it kind of has that cypherpunk artistic essence to it versus, not to say anything bad about the other manufacturers, but they're more practical, I think, with everything that they do.
Yeah, they try to be more like an Apple kind of a company, tech company in their hardware production rather than,
the open is so awesome.
Different.
Yeah, no, it has so much personality.
It's funny because when you think of you're alluding to Apple, but when you think of Apple, design wise, it's the absolute opposite of that, right? Like everything is like there's no seams, it's all like closed off and everything. And Open Dime, it's like I can see the fucking circuits on the back of that thing. Like the cold card is literally transparent, so you can see the board.
Same with the block clock.
Yeah, and not only that, but like it's like an inverse to Apple, because what's more badass than when you're doing a partially signed Bitcoin transaction and air gapping it using your fucking cold power with like a cord running from a 9-volt battery into your cold card, which is transparent. Like it's insane. It's like the most cypherpunk feeling to use anything from CoinKite. So hats off to Rodolfo. I don't know if that was intentional or just because he was like, well, I need to make this shit like as easily as possible and not spend money on like extra stuff around it. But it really encapsulates the Bitcoin ethos of like, all right, let's bare bones this shit and get it done, but do it in like a very efficient way.
Yeah,
and
be practical,
he sure as hell does
pragmatic.
that.
You know, it's pragmatic.
Yeah, 100%. You couldn't encapsulate Bitcoiners any better. Guys, this is I'm really enjoying this. We've got like 220 people in here. Smash that like button. Give this a share. Also, if you got any badass Bitcoin art that you're loving, feel free to drop that into the comments. I'll try to bring up your comments whenever appropriate. But we're gonna keep rolling here. We've done Dylan. We've done Alex. We've had Adam. We're gonna jump to CK, dude. You are our final reason for being bullish this week. What has you riled up? What are you excited about?
So I'm glad I could bring this up before Adam left, but my reason to be bullish is mining. I feel like over the last 3 or 4 weeks, we've learned a tremendous amount about how the network works from a mining perspective. And I have 3 examples. So first of all, the massive hash rate drop kind of indicated a lot about like how much hash rate was in the Mongolia region of China. It also kind of like showed us how fees came up to like really incentivize hash power to get right back on the network, despite, let's just call it, geographic obstacles of doing that, right? So if all the rigs, if rigs had to be moved from Mongolia, then they had to be moved. If rigs had to be turned on, that were turned off. They had to be like, people had to get over whatever was in their way to turn on rigs. And it was obvious that the fees were a big part of that. And, within 2 weeks, Bitcoin is back to performing at optimal, normal conditions. So, I mean, that was a really nice stress test that we saw. Super bullish outcome. Keep going. Marapool yesterday mined a compliant block. And just to show how like hilarious that idea is, when you mine a block, the block, you have to wait 100 blocks before you can actually withdraw those coins. So people saw, the Coinbase, and they just were sending, like, let's call it OFAC sanctioned dust into their block just to taint it immediately, right? So like this idea that you can make a pure Bitcoin that doesn't have any touch from anyone else, like it's just such a silly concept. And it just shows like the cost of doing that is immense. Like they gave up an enormous amount of profit on that block in order to mine a clean block. And then the cost to taint it is nothing. It's absolutely nothing, right? So anyone could do it. Anyone could have tainted it for them. So that was extremely bullish. And then last but not least, we've been watching Taproot activation kind of happen. And it's really interesting to see some mining pools are signaling for Taproot, some are not. And over time, you're actually seeing hash rate move from the mining pools that are not signaling to the mining pools that are signaling. So you actually see like the breakdown of percentage hash, as well as all of this stuff kind of shift based on, are they signaling or are they not signaling? So, I mean, I don't know if this is going to, play out how we all want it to play out. I'm very hopeful that we get it and we can end the freaking back and forth about how to activate Taproot and just have it. But no matter what, the fact that we see the hash rate be modular and movable, like it really kind of poo-poos a lot of the FUD people have been saying about like, these mining pools control the network and all this stuff. It's a centralizing feature. Like it's not. Like this stuff actually works. And we're seeing, I brought up 3 different kind of case studies that have played out very recently. So very bullish.
I love, there's so many topics here, so many things. By the way, if you guys want to track Taproot activation, you can check out taproot.watch, which is a website that tracks. And so effectively, there's, I believe, a 3-month period where every 2-week retargeting period, there's a chance for miners to signal for support of Taproot. Don't expect it to happen right away, but we are seeing, and if you're watching this on YouTube here, you can see like initially there wasn't a lot of signaling. The first Taproot block was mined by, where am I seeing? Slush Pool, yes.
Yep.
So you can see that there's starting to be more and more green or Taproot signaling blocks here. I am very excited to see this activated. Interesting that Luke Dash Jr. kind of pulled out the user activated soft fork back pocket type thing. I don't really lean either way about it. I think it's just part of the game theory of everything, much like those that have been around for a while, that were around during the Bitcoin Cash deal back in 2017 and the Segwit 2x fork, where basically a whole bunch of people tried to take over development of Bitcoin. Shaolin Fry came out of nowhere and dropped an alternative version of the protocol that would effectively not pay attention to whatever they decided to do. And the game theory kind of played out where they backed down last minute. So it'll be super interesting to see what happens going forward. I'm very excited to see Taproot. I think it will activate in one form or another. But in regards to that clean block, I just find that so funny, because when you think game theoretically, like you were saying, CK, do you remember what the total amount of fees that they got for that block were versus the typical? I know lately,
like 5 million sats. I think they got 5 million sats, right?
And it's normally like a full coin, right?
It's not, yeah. I mean, recently it's been like over a coin, like probably 110 million sats. So yeah,
Jesus.
I mean, and
It's expensive.
CK, thank you so much for bringing this up. And somebody in the comments said something like Kevin O'Leary's blood coin shtick is cringe as fuck. It is cringe as fuck. And Kevin O'Leary is an absolute imbecile, okay? And so is everybody else that's trying to attribute morality to whether, I mean, people are doing this with electricity, right? That like certain electricity consumption, if it came from a windmill, like you're going to heaven, but if it didn't, then you're, just like, you might as well be burning the earth, you piece of shit. Or if your Bitcoin is somehow like tainted, right? I mean, the U.S. government auctioned off Silk Road's coins, and Tim Draper bought them. So, I mean, Tim Draper apparently just has blood and drug coins. I mean, it's nonsense, right? I mean, the point of money is the fact that it's apolitical, it's amoral, right? It's completely outside of the realm of ethic and kind of political discussion. It has no fucking bias. So it's just nonsense. It's nothing more than people saying the same things with electricity, and the propaganda to try to manipulate and get people to attribute something as either being bad or good, when in fact money ought to be neutral, in general, right? The best money should be neutral, and Bitcoin certainly is. But yeah, I mean, what the fuck is that? I mean, CK, thank you for bringing that up. I mean, I wouldn't have even gotten into that, but you're right. It's happening more and more. It's got champions like Kevin O'Leary. It blows my hair back every time. I just like, have these people not ever done any critical thinking? It's
also lulz.
I mean,
it's just lulz.
I had to drop the preach banner for that. Anytime somebody gets on the rant, I just drop a preach banner.
It's unbelievable. I mean, it's unbelievable. And there's almost no response, because I'm almost dumbfounded, right? I'm at a loss for words trying to combat such a nonsensical argument. But here we are talking about it. Right?
Yo,
they gave up 95% of their fee.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but
so that they could fucking virtue signal and literally send that tweet. That was why they did what they did. So and everybody just exploded it anyway. So fuck them.
And there's 6% of the hash. What's gonna prevent? Like, okay, so they're like, it might take like 6% longer to get your transaction through. So like they've given up 95% of the fees they could have accepted, making their competition that much more profitable than them, and that much more profitable in terms of capturing those fees and mining those. And then on top of that, they have the added expense of trying to actually do the chain analysis to decipher whether or not a particular transaction is within the realm of what is allowed or not by OFAC, which is fucking
Ben,
insane.
Their only return is a falsified sense of moral high ground. I mean, that's literally that means that they're literally investing in just to virtue signal. Their only fucking return is to virtue signal and send a tweet that says, we mine blocks too, but we only mine moral blocks. I mean, what assholes, what idiots. There's no way they last. They're going to burn off. Fuck them. I gotta go. I got another meeting. Love you guys. Thanks for having me.
That was the best
Great
exit.
way to end it.
Excellent exit. I couldn't have asked for a better exit. Of course. How do you follow that? But I'm gonna let you guys tag in on CK's mining topic at large. I mean, it wasn't just around the Mara like clean.
It was a
clean,
nuanced while I'm bullish. It was a very nuanced one, but that's why I'm bullish, man.
I'll let you. I'll just open it up, Dylan or Alex, if you have anything to add into the kind of mining. Yeah, man, do it. Share it, and then I think I have to approve it. But go ahead.
Okay, we'll see if it works.
Okay, hold on. We shall see.
Is it pinging you? It says I've lost. Well, I may have to fix something. Never mind. I got a glass.
Is it a website?
It's a Glassnode chart. It shows the Bitcoin mining like total revenue. In the last week, the Bitcoin miners had their best week ever in terms of dollars generated. So, yeah,
screenshot, sir.
Yeah. Or actually, just shoot the link in the private chat, and I'll pull it up. By the way, if you guys haven't been watching Glassnode is there's, by the way, Dylan, there's a private chat on the right hand side in StreamYard here. Yeah, if you guys aren't watching Glassnode just has so many great charts on-chain data. And a guy that really tags onto this, and I talked about him and brought up a thread of his yesterday in the news show, William Clemente. He's dropping bombs like nothing else in terms of on-chain data in regards to flows of capital and everything. It's just awesome. But he gets a lot of that from Glassnode. Willie Woo does a similar thing, and he's a vet of the space, but absolutely excellent kind of information there. Dylan, do you have that link in there?
I'm shooting you a Twitter DM because I don't know.
Okay, cool. I got it here. One sec. I will pull it up so that we can see it. Okay, I got you. Hold on. And that. There.
Yeah. So the mining revenue, the average over the last week was all-time high of 64 million.
Okay, I'm pulling it up here. Sure. Here, I've got it right here. I'd love to
see this chart.
So that's the last couple months.
Oh, that's from December. Jesus Christ. It's tripled.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Well, number did go up triple. Almost.
That's true. Yeah.
At least doubled.
Yeah. And let's see. You sent a couple here. Hold on.
And that's just a little bit more zoomed out. It's just bullish to see because you see right after the halving, right? So like after the halving, the block subsidy gets cut in half, and then there's always that dumb narrative. It's like, oh, the death spiral. But just the loop of incentives, it's like, okay, well, inefficient miners have to shut off. The efficient miners stay on. Hash rate falls off a cliff. There's maybe a negative 20 or 15% difficulty adjustment. A bunch of transactions, like blocks are super slow, so transaction fees get hiked up, which incentivizes miners to come back on. And it's just like, yeah, you can never kill this. You can never kill this thing. Like if 75% of miners just tomorrow night blew up, like I don't think that wouldn't happen, obviously, but it would be fine. Blocks would come in slow for a while. Difficulty would adjust. Fees would go spike like crazy, incentivizing everybody to spin up more miners. Like, yeah. So I mean. Yeah. Number go up everywhere.
It's great. I love it. I've got a question in general for the entire panel. And this stems from Dylan, you mentioning minor death spiral, which has been a regular FUD item that has come up in, especially in bear markets. It always comes up. So this year very much has been an absolute repeat of 2017. You know, like we got the halving last year. We saw us spend the rest of the year basically eking back up to previous all-time highs. We surpassed them just a tad earlier than we did last cycle. And then we pumped to about 3 times the previous all-time high and have had a pullback and have been like ranging for a few months. Literally almost the exact fucking thing that happened last time around. It's insane. And on top of that, as we're ranging sideways, the shitcoin narrative is rampant, just everywhere. Everything is pumping. NFTs, it's just like a revolving door. Whatever was here last time, ICOs and all that trash, out the door. That's old news. That's when the market was not as sophisticated as it is now to pick up on NFTs and DeFi. But clearly that's not the case. And I think it will play out effectively the same as last bull run. But my question to you all is the bear market, and I'm assuming that my assumption is we get another cycle, but is the FUD, if we get another bear market for Bitcoin, is the FUD the same? Do we again see mining death spiral? Do we see that again? Do we see stuff like that? I don't know. Like, who wants to chime in?
Yeah, I can take this. I think we're always going to see FUD by people that are getting destroyed by Bitcoin. So all the fiat systems, as they eventually crumble, that's the death spiral that we're going to see. We're going to hear about Bitcoin, dying, but that'll be the reason for it. I mean, one of the best memes, like memes are, I think, gold in this industry. One of the best memes is where it's Barney from The Simpsons, sitting in a bar, ICOs, and he's being hauled out by Mo, and then you see him back in the bar with NFTs over his head, right? So it's just a cycle. There's always going to be FUD, and there's always going to be a need to debunk that. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I just think it's nature of the beast.
Yeah, 100%. Anybody else want to chime in here? CK, Dylan, whichever.
Take it, CK.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think that I put out a tweet that shitcoins and Bitcoin are going mainstream together. I personally think that it's true, and it's a hard truth to deal with. But the reality is that, probably less than 2% of people get why Bitcoin and not shitcoin, and why Bitcoin and not fiat. So the fact that 99 people have not gotten onto the Bitcoin operating system yet just means that there's going to be an enormous amount of confusion on the way there. So be empathetic, be patient. Dogecoin is the best coin to pump out of all the shit coins by far, because it just shows that no matter what they do, they're still not better than nothing, than literally a meme. So I just think it just really cements Bitcoin's moat. Also, another point about Dogecoin that's interesting is that unlike Bitcoin, it is the only thing that's clearly not a security. So Elon Musk can pump it. He can't even pump Tesla stock, but he can pump Dogecoin. So the incentives are there for rich guys to pump this thing. Like, fuck, people are dumb. People are getting millions of dollars. As long as they're thinking about fiat, they're not doing it right. So it is what it is. I'm going to be patient and empathetic as much as I can be, and keep beating on the Bitcoin drum.
I love it. Dylan, what do you think? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I mean, I've only been here for like not even a full cycle, and it's like it's kind of, I don't know, it's tough just having to combat the same narratives and the same and like you tell everybody, like I told a bunch of people at 9 cents to not buy Dogecoin. I'm like, no man, just like, are you kidding me? Like don't do that to yourself. And then it like pumps in your face, and it's like, no, like I'm not wrong. I'm just like temporarily wrong. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's like, it's tough. I mean, the people that like actually, want to dig in and find truth, will find Bitcoin, and they have been for the past decade. But yeah, there's a lot of noise, and most people don't go too deep. They just like, oh, the next Bitcoin, and you're like, again, like how long does everybody's rabbit hole journey take? Like it's a long trip, and you have to be willing. You can force feed people information and podcasts and articles all day, but like if they don't want to learn, then they'll get burned maybe. So hopefully not, but
yeah, I agree. It's unfortunate. I mean, eventually, given it's a game of time preference, and the problem is for us Bitcoiners that have kind of like clued into what's happening here, you don't just have to wait out like your own rabbit hole journey. You have to wait out the last entrance rabbit hole journey. You have to wait out the very last person on the planet taking that rabbit hole journey through why not fiat into why are digital assets even a thing into why are all of them bullshit except for Bitcoin. And it's just, we're just going to have to wait. Like we have to cater to the lowest common denominator. And, and those roadblocks in the way can vary for multiple people. Maybe they're not tuned in to good sources of information. Maybe they're just, I don't know. There's a lot of factors there. Maybe they're financially incentivized and you come in through the wrong part of a cycle and you don't get into the right streams of information and you just kind of hooped. I do not envy anybody entering the space right now because the amount of noise versus signal is insane. If you can come in during a bear market, it is beautiful because it sets you up so well. And the most challenging part is getting through that first bull market and not diving into the trash because you begin to question everything when you see something like Doge pumping to where it is. When you see, you see all the Ethereum pundits saying that Ethereum is sound money, regardless of the fact that, the monetary policy switches on a whim and is like, what's the total issuance? Well, we'll see. Reserve the right to change my opinion on that later. But hey, it comes with the territory. So we do what we can. But guys, unit bias is a thing. As Dan in the comments says here, my older bro has bad unit bias. Let's set sats as the standard, and maybe that'll help out for probably not this round, but the next cycle, maybe we can really cement that shit in there. It's a long game. I think we'll have the patience for that. But what I'd like to do now is I like to get final thoughts from everybody. I will say to everybody in the audience, all of these panelists, their Twitter profiles are linked in the show notes, as well as Denver, aka Adam, that was here as well. But let's go down the line really quick. Dylan, first of all, any final thoughts, and let people know where they can find you.
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome to come on and just have a good rip. Final thoughts. Yeah, I mean, it's just an exciting time. It's an exciting time to be in the Bitcoin space, and like all of us here, I think we show up to work every single day, and it doesn't feel like work. Just like love what you do, just like educating people about what this is and the revolution that's underway. It's an exciting time to be alive. So, and yeah, you can find me on Twitter, BTCization. Just reach out, say hi. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Yeah, no problem, man. CK, take it away. Any where people can find you and any final thoughts in whichever order you please.
Yeah, so you can find me at CK_Snarks. You can also find me at Bitcoin Magazine, lead things up over there. And you can find me in Miami for the Bitcoin conference. Sessions, you're going to be there. Alexandra, you're going to be there. No, Dylan's going to be there. That's okay. There's complications. I feel bad for you. It is what it is. Dylan's going to be there. And I want to give Dylan a big shout out. He's been on the Bitcoin Magazine team for about 2.5 months now, and he's made an enormous impact. Like, this dude is young and just like has an incredibly good head on his shoulders. And I'm excited for how he's going to keep crushing it for Bitcoin Magazine as well as just Bitcoin education. So make sure to follow this dude. Make sure to go to Bitcoin Miami and stay bullish.
I love it. I'm so excited for Miami, dude. I cannot really fully encapsulate how ready I am. My body is so ready for this. Like, not only have I not been able to see Bitcoiners in person forever and been locked down for, a fucking eternity, just like I think back to Bitcoin 2019 and the euphoria of and we were like pumping to 13K at the time and everybody was losing their minds. Matt Odell was slurring his words as they filmed or as they recorded a podcast on the roof. It was insane. And I can't wait to get in a single space with a bunch of Bitcoiners. It's so bullish. It's so exciting. So I hope to see a lot of people there. But yeah, I'm so glad you brought it up. Where can people go, by the way, to look for that? Are there any tickets left even?
There are tickets left, but it's going to be expensive to get a hold of them. Your time to get those cheap Bitcoin 2021 tickets have now passed, and we are in a full bull market mode. But you can go to b.tc/conference, see the speakers, see the sponsors, go get a ticket. Use promo code Satoshi to save yourself 10% off. Buy in Bitcoin and save yourself $400. DM me if you really need a discount, and I might hook it up. So just holler.
I love it. And let's toss it over to Alexandra. Any final thoughts? And please do let people know where they can find you again.
Sure. So final thoughts. Sessions, you brought up something really good about people getting paid to promote things. And I think that's something we need to realize. So if you see like your favorite, I hate using the term influencer, but it's probably the best term to use, or somebody who's, really famous in the fiat world, all of a sudden shilling some kind of new coin, just question their motives, realize that there's usually a huge marketing campaign behind it. And, they probably receive like $250,000 or something just to say good things about it. So that's what they're counting on. So Bitcoin really is, I'm bullish on Bitcoin because really it's the only sound money that we have. So yeah, you can find me at, I'm Alexandra933 on Twitter. You can also find me at advancedtechmedia.org. I always forget. Anyway, it's linked. Yeah, one of those. And you can find the podcast as Advanced Tech Podcast. So it's advanced without the D on advanced. So it's not advanced, it's advanced because it's all about moving forward.
I love it. Well, either way, your Twitter profile is linked. All of the guest Twitter profiles are linked down below. As always, of course, everybody go follow everyone that was a part of the show. Guys, I had a blast here. Thank you so much for being here, making my Friday great, as always. And I will see some of you in Miami. And Alexandra, I'm sure we will see each other in person sooner rather than later. All of you are welcome back on the show anytime. So thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Ben.
Cheers. I'm going to kill you guys audio, video. And everybody in the chat, everybody that's watching, thank you so much for watching. Lots of exciting topics. I stupidly forgot to mention something. Hey, if you want to open up a Lightning channel with me, you can definitely do so. I did drop all the information to do so in the description of this video down below. So be sure to check that out if you're dabbling. Now, I will be dropping a full tutorial on how to use your Umbral node or your My node, or just as long as you're using Thunderhub, that's going to be the focus for setting up your Lightning node. I will be dropping a tutorial for that next week at the latest by Wednesday. There's a lot of information there. So, if you're unsure of what to do, maybe don't go opening up channels willy-nilly all over the place, because you might end up having to close those if it's not a good channel. I will try to convey that information as best I can as I'm learning at the same time, but do check it out. If you want to open a channel, there's information for that down below. As always, please do hit like, subscribe, and share. All of that helps so much. You have no idea how much that helps. It really gets this in front of more people. So do that right now as you're watching and listening. Smash like, subscribe, share. If you want to help with the show in another way, you can hit the sponsors I mentioned down below. LEDN, BitRefill, and Bill Fodl on privacypros.io. All of that is linked in the show notes. And finally, speaking of Lightning, if you really liked what you saw, you can always drop me a Lightning Network tip at my tippin.me page. That is tippin.me, tippin.me/@BTC Sessions. With that, I am out. Have yourselves a wonderful day or evening wherever you are. And I'll see you guys next time for your daily session.
Hodl the Bitcoin.